Hello, everybody. Today, I would like to present you my first experiment of my PhD, in which we did an experiment to study how respiration modulates behavior and task-relevant neural signatures during visual discrimination. So, our motivation was given by the growing body of studies showing the dependency between behavior and respiration during cognitive tasks, and also the growing body of studies showing respiratory modulation of the activity throughout the brain. But still, it's not completely clear which of the neural modulation of respiration extends to task-relevant neural signatures. So, to address this question and to add further to the understanding of body-brain interactions, we used two visual tasks. So, in the first task, our participants were equipped with a 128-channel EEG and were outfitted with an oxygen mask. We modified in a way that we connected a thermal resistor to it to record temperature or respiration-induced temperature fluctuations of the air. And then our participants had to discriminate between angry and happy facial expressions with varying intensity of the emotional expression. In the first experiment, we see that behavior, so we looked at reaction times and response accuracy as behavioral parameters, and we used linear mixed effect models to compare models with and without respiration as predictive for behavior. And what we found is that respiration shapes direction times in the emotion discrimination task, but this is not the case for response accuracy. So for easier visualization, we divided detritus by 6 equally binned respiration phase bins. So here you see like the first 3 ones are covering inspiration and the last 3 ones expiration, and the small dots are the participants' average, and the bold dots show the group average with the standard error. So in the EEG data, we use linear discriminant analysis to identify emotion-specific neural encoding, which revealed 2 components relative to the stimulus presentation that support emotion discrimination. So you can here see the 2 topographies of these components, one at around 240 milliseconds after stimulus onset, and the late one at around 450 milliseconds. We then used the peak time of emotion evidence of the identified components to test if respiration phase modulates them. Again, we use linear mixed models, comparing models with and without respiration phase as predictor for the emotion evidence. We run that model comparison also for the respiratory state several seconds before the stimulus was shown to the participants. And here in the lower case, you can see the AIC difference between those models. And the dots in the boxes indicate a significant difference in the AIC in favor for respiratory modulation of emotion evidence. And yeah, it's also clear that the early one isn't modulated by respiration, while the late one is in a window of 4 seconds preceding the stimulus modulated by the respiratory phase in this window. I'm way too fast, but anyway. Lastly, I would like to show you briefly what we did in the second task. So here we used the Necker cube and manipulated it in a similar fashion as with the facial expressions to make one or the other perspective of the cube being more likely perceived. And participants then had to discriminate again between the left or the right oriented cube. And the similar result, the behavioral results are quite similar to the facial expression experiment. So also here, reaction times were modulated by the respiratory phase, while this was not occurring for the response accuracy. And on the neural level, we also found 2 components And both of them are modulated by the respiratory phase that precedes the stimulus presentation, but we see a stronger modulation of respiration in the second component, so in the late one at around 380 milliseconds. Yeah, way too fast, definitely. So to sum it up, we conclude from our data that respiration modulates behavior and in particular reaction times. Secondly, we see that task-relevant neurophysiological processes are also modulated by respiration, and presumably that the late component we saw in both experiments reflects decision processes. Yeah, way too fast anyway. So with this, I would like to thank the lab, especially my supervisor, Christoph Kaiser, here on the left. And yeah, I'm curious about any questions that may have arisen.
Yeah, I already saw a hand.
Thank you. That was very interesting. I was wondering how much these effects that you see are from the spontaneous modulation of the respiration rate and phase, or whether you think there's any voluntary component that subjects actually modulate their respiratory phase to be in line with the stimuli or the most important times in your experimental paradigm.
Yeah, we actually looked also into it, but for the sake of time, I didn't include it, but actually looked for phase coherence, and in both experiments, it's not random, so actually participants subconsciously align their respiration to the course of the trial presentation. So yeah, we see that definitely.
Thank you.